All right, let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. We're gonna really go over we have new contents, obviously, that we have created. There's a lot of updates with legislation and market update. And then we also have a really nice New Year message. Hi, Tamla. Tamla is joining us now as well. And so, welcome back, and we're looking forward to a fantastic new year. Got a lot of stuff going on, so hope you're all having a great new year as well. All right, let's get started. So, we'll start with introducing our host organization. Real Estate IQ is a lead generation and deal generation community where we bring you distressed seller leads along with distressed seller deals now and funding as well. Basically, anything that you need in your investment journey will bring these solutions to you. I think we already played some success stories, so I'm just gonna skip through this. Right, a lot of successful clients that have done very well with our distressed seller product. And disclaimer, everything that we share here is for your information, educational purposes, and you should always do your due diligence whenever you make any kind of big investment decisions, and we don't offer investment, financial, or legal advice. We are merely presenting the information you need to know to do well in your investment journey. We'll be starting shortly, and we have a weekly map event. That's our weekly office hours, and that's on Friday. So that's tomorrow at 9:30 Central Time, where we actually we do some networking, and we also go over any questions that you may have in terms of finding deals or structuring deals, and obviously if you have deals that you want to you need help with, say, marketing or disposition, we can help you with that. So we look forward to meeting you there. And if you need help with closing a deal, so you got a lead, you don't know how to structure a deal, well, we can walk you through that. So you just need to submit your deal over to me, and I will either help you or I'll connect you with an expert that can give you that support. So our speaker today, we have me and Tamla. John can't join us today, and Randy, I think, is busy getting funding for some of the deals that we're working on. Okay, this is our agenda. We'll have our initial intro, and then we'll share some really important updates. There's a legislation update that if you are an investor, a landlord, you should certainly know what's happening. That just became effective on January 1st of this year. And then our feature topic is going to be on how do we start a year, plan the year, and then we'll close and talk about upcoming events. So first off, a very important legislation update in Texas, SB 38. And basically, depending on your stance on this, some say it's a pro-landlord legislation. Some say it's a very anti-tenant legislation. Basically, what it provides is it focuses on reforming eviction procedures and addressing squatter problems. And so, Thelma, we were talking with this owner that has a squatter issue. Maybe this is a interesting update that applies to him as he's working through his eviction process.
Yes.
And they call it anti-squatter or property rights bill. Okay, so the two biggest items is that they will now require courts to schedule eviction trials within 10 to 21 days. So they're going to speed up that timeline and speeding up the removal of unauthorized occupants, right, the squatters, and reducing delays that previously allowed prolonged illegal stays on properties. And Tamla, I would love to kind of hear what's your thoughts too? After I kind of shared this other point, is that the second point is that courts can now issue judgments much more quickly without full trial or hearing in the cases that are clear and there's no like disputed facts or whatnot. And so, in a squatting situation where there's no disputed facts, they will speed it up a lot faster.
Yes, and that's very, very helpful. And I'm very thankful that the state passed this, that these new laws have gone into effect. It's very helpful for landlords, and it's really great that they can get in court in a faster time frame and get them out of your house.
Yeah, usually I think both for landlords and also I have to talk with folks that focuses on buying properties at foreclosure auction, and then you also have to kind of do an eviction proceeding, and they usually they used to have to kind of prepare for several months of that holding cost, so that kind of speeds up for these investors.
Yes, and Texas has always been a state that it's much easier to evict a non-paying tenant or a squatter in your home in Texas than it is in other states. So we are very thankful that Texas is a friendly homeowner or landlord state.
Cool. All right. Next, we have a couple of market updates for you. Number one is the housing shift in Texas. So Texas enters 2026 as a balanced, slightly buyer-leaning market. Inventory is at 5 to 6 months. So that's usually I think what more than 6 months is a buyer's market, and less than 3 months is a seller's market. And so we're pretty balanced 5 to 6 months. And statewide median price is down 1 to 2% year over year. And we're seeing price cuts across the major metropolitan area. From a lending and borrow trend standpoint, the 30-year fixed average is at 6.15%, right, according to Freddie Mac by around end of December. And the 10-year Treasury is now supporting the easing. The Fed cut the rate by 25 points back in December 2025. And we're seeing refis going up by 20 to 30%.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also seeing, obviously, creative financing is still very prevalent because, we're still looking at a relatively high interest rate comparing to the lows back during the COVID time frame. All right, next we also have distressed property activities. These are new statistics that we wanted to bring it out and share with you guys from a foreclosure standpoint, right? Distressed property activities have ramped up significantly, with foreclosure leading the charge. Nationally, foreclosure filings hit 35,651 in November of 2025. And that's up year over year for like the 9th consecutive months. And in the third quarter, Texas and Florida are the ones that are leading the charge, right, in terms of foreclosures. And it's accounting for a substantial share of initial filings. In the third quarter of 2025, Texas saw 9,736 foreclosure starts, and Florida 8,909. Altogether, they're representing 18% of the national total. So if you want to have access to these foreclosure data, obviously Real Estate IQ, we provide that, and we offer that refreshed on a daily basis as well, so you can stay on top of it. And obviously, in addition to buying it at the foreclosure auction, you can also reach out and try to acquire the property from the owner, directly from the owner, as a pre-foreclosure before it hits the foreclosure. And actually, that's one of the deals that we're working on right now. This is a pre-foreclosure. And so the owner was able to delay the foreclosure for a little bit and gain her a little bit of time. So this is in Mesquite. And Tamla and I, we've been talking about this. There's some drama and some holdup on this deal too. So here are some, some numbers here, right? For like a sub 2 type of, this is a sub 2 subject to a lead. ARV is about 290. And it's competing with new builds in the area. So the owner bought it around 4 years ago. There's still a lot of new builds in the area. And so she's kind of pricing it even higher than the new build comps right now, which is why it's been sitting on the market and it hasn't moved. She's been asking for a price that's actually, again, higher than what the new build comps. She's competing with the new builds, which Tamla has been sharing with me. When you're looking at these type of deals, you gotta watch out for, what's going on with the new builds. It's hard to compete with builders with their incentives and everything else. So that's something to kind of consider when you try to acquire these type of houses that have a lot of new builds in the new development area. Anything you want to add, Tamla, to that point?
You are doing a great job. I mean, you're telling. I'm teaching you something. I'm excited that I'm teaching you something.
Yeah, so I watch out. I'm very watchful for that, right? I'm mindful of that, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's when you're buying in a community that they're still developing, they're still building. If you are able to acquire the property, you may have a harder time selling it because the seller cannot compete with the builder's incentives. So you might want to think about it being a rental property. That's the way I always look at homes that you could possibly pick up in a new development. If the numbers work out and let it finish developing out, or let the market, if you're in phase 1, the market will eventually increase, but it may be when the builder gets to phase 4 before it does.
So, kind of looking at the numbers, if you're interested in, kind of how we're going to end up structuring this deal and make this deal work, we can talk about that offline or during our office hours. But here are the numbers, right? The balance owed, 292, reinstatement, a little over 22,000 actually. And the owner has maintained the house very well. So very minimum repair budget, maybe some carpet replacement, or maybe we just kind of clean out the carpet, keep it minimal. From a cash flow standpoint, though, this is a little bit challenging from a long-term rent, right? So the PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, they're paying a little bit over $2,660, and then there's an HOA. So now we're looking at $2,700 a month of expenses. From a long-term rent, the comps are only showing, at most $2,200, so it's not going to cash flow very well. Long-term rent. What we do see is some potential co-living opportunity. So it's got 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but actually there's an office that's not accounted for as a bedroom. So we can turn that into, from a co-living standpoint, turn that into a bedroom. And then, so that's 4 bedrooms. The co-living comps are going for $200 a week. So $800 per month And with 4 rooms, I think we're gonna be somewhat break even. And if you can convert one of the living room and the dining room into a living space, right? Another room to rent out, then you can probably cash flow. So we're seeing co-living, potentially working for this, and then a short-term rental, possibly be a little more. There's not as much comps in a short-term rental to support this, but for co-living, I think it's pretty solid. But now so it's I think it's good for a co-living operator, or if you're gonna owner finance, if you're gonna sell it owner finance and kind of earn the difference of interest rates,
Mhm.
might be a number at work. So let's talk about the drama. Okay, so there's a little bit of drama here, and as I was talking to the owner, she shared with me that about 2 months ago, she actually signed a contract with a wholesaler. And then she found that the wholesaler turned around and put it on the MLS as a listing, try to sell it for more. And as and so the owner is actually a realtor as well. So she found out and tried to cancel the contract, and the wholesaler ended up putting a memorandum on the property. And this is where I go, okay, what do we do now? So I reach out to Tamla, and maybe Tamla, you can kind of share with us the practice of the memorandum. I think it's very useful for the folks that are kind of doing deals. This is not the first time I see wholesalers putting memorandums on the property, and usually they're not reachable, and it clouds the title. There's a potential for the memorandum to cloud the title and block the transaction.
Yes, there is. When title is pulled, the it will show up on title. If it is something that the owner needs to clear up, and I'm careful with my words here, I would highly advise them to go speak with an attorney, and let the attorney handle it, because you don't want it staying on title, and you want to get the problem solved. So speaking with an attorney would give you the best advice on what can be done to solve the problem.
So
That would be my.
Tamara, before we jump into that, why would a wholesaler put a memorandum on the house?
They would put a memorandum on it, number one, to keep you from selling it to anyone else, and or they want to make their fee if you sell it to anyone else. But my experience with the memorandums is usually to keep you from selling it to someone else. Have I placed memorandums on property? No. Have I threatened to? Yes. And there were 2 transactions that I have threatened to do that. Both transactions were basically the day of closing. The seller did not show up. Both times the money had already been wired to the title company, and the sellers did not show up because someone came and right before we closed offered them more money for it. That in both situations, I threatened to put a memorandum on the property. One situation, we did not buy my financial partner at that time. We decided to back out of it and get our earnest money back due to some other issues with the property. And then the second one, the seller did eventually sell to us because there was no reason why she should not have sold to us. It was a situation where we offered her a very good price for it, not necessarily a wholesale price for the property. And if y'all can remember the prices back during the COVID times when the market value of homes within literally a week to 2 week period of time, they jumped and went tremendously higher.
Right.
That's when this one happened. She did eventually sell to us because we had done everything correct. And she literally, I signed the documents as the buyer, and she did not show up at the title company to sign the documents as the seller, and had called the title company and said, no, I can get more money for the house. I'm not showing up. 2 weeks later, she came back and signed the documents because I guess she had talked with her attorney. And I'm assuming he had told her that I did have a valid reason to file this. But that's the only two experiences I've had with this. Like I said, I never filed it. I only threatened to file it. And we resolved the matter in both cases. So,
And just an anecdotal story. I was in Houston talking to our Houston partners, and they shared with me that there were some wholesalers just kind of make it a practice to put a memorandum on the property, and so even if they can move the house, they can't do anything. So but they're gonna put a memorandum and then use it as a way to say block a transaction and get bought out.
yes. Um, I do not think that is a good idea to do that. I mean, it gives wholesalers a really bad reputation.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
And there's a lot of good wholesalers in this industry. There's more good ones than there are the not so good ones. So I don't think I don't think that's a good idea to do something like that. I think that if you do place a memorandum on a property address, have a very, very good reason for doing that. In which case, like I said, I threatened to twice, and I had a very, very good reason both times to do it. And both times with the seller, we compromised and came up with an agreement. Like I said, the second one where the seller did sell to us, I guess you could say that our compromise was that she agreed to sell it to us because she had my earnest money. She had, I mean, everything. It was just the price had jumped up. The market value of the property had jumped up because of what was going on in the market, which, yes, it was beneficial for me. It was not beneficial for her. But I made an offer in good faith and she accepted it. I'm assuming in good faith at the time. So there was no reason why she shouldn't sell the property to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you, Tama, for sharing that. I feel that as a practice to block a transaction just to get paid is I don't agree with that. I don't think we'll ever do that. But from your standpoint, right? I guess it's now it's the other party that is wanting to back out, and that's not necessary in good faith on the
True,
sellers.
true. And it was, it was, I had done everything that I was supposed to do, showed up at the table, signed the documents, money was there to pay her, and she didn't show up to sign. So, but she did. She came back 2 weeks later and signed. So we did end up purchasing the property, and it turned out to be a very positive situation. It was just a little stressful there at the moment, but we got through it.
Right. A little bit of drama.
Yeah, but I never got ugly, never lost my temper, just was matter of fact with, I will file a memorandum on this, and you will not be able to sell this property for at least 2 to 3 years. Is this what you want to do? Because I will keep you in court, is what I said. And I meant it. I meant it. There was no reason. There's no reason she should not have signed those documents other than the fact that she was a retired real estate broker and she knew the market had gone up and just knew that she could, sell it for more money. And
Yeah.
like, that's sorry, but we had we agreed to this. You signed the contract, and at the time you signed it in good faith that you were going to sell it to me. And what if the market had gone down? I would have still been I would have had to have bought the house.
Yep. And the kind of the horror story that I heard from a Houston partner was that I keep hearing wholesalers from Arizona. So this was an Arizona wholesaler put the house. The house was going to foreclosure, and so they offer to pay them off for an amount just to get the transaction go through and help the owner, right, that's facing foreclosure. And the wholesaler specifically requested, I think, like at least 5,000 or something, right? I guess maybe they have some numbers they wanted to make sure, but the 5K just kind of made it so the deal doesn't work. And so ended up, the horror story was that the property ended up going into foreclosure, and they just let go. It's kind of like a lose-lose play, and there's not much we can do about it.
If I'm not mistaken, in the state of Texas, though, if a wholesaler has a property under contract with the seller, the wholesaler has to notify the seller that they are reselling the property and marketing the property to resell it. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the way it should be done in Texas.
Thanks for sharing that. Okay, cool. Let's move on. If you have questions on the deal, or like, what a memorandum looks like and all that, right? Feel free. And if you want to participate in these deals, we're actively, working on the leads and structuring deals right now. So if you want to participate through deals or funding opportunities, Randy, our funding partner, would love to talk to you. Tamla would love to talk to you. So I'm leaving Randy's phone number here. You can give him a call, or, you can reach out to me. I can make the connection.
Or texting.
I'm sorry?
Or texting.
Yeah, or text him. Text him. That's probably a good play. Randy has helped a lot of folks fund their deals. Cool. Couple of featured deals. Okay. This is in San Antonio. Here are the numbers. And like I said, when we first started, always run your numbers and before you put in an offer. But this house is still available in San Antonio. And we have all kinds of deals that we're working on in our inventory. We have buy and hold type of properties, fix and flip. There's land. There are also notes. So if you're interested, just feel free to reach out to us and we'll share with you the details and what that looks like. And if you are curious how you can participate, or like, what's the business model for these deals, right? We have classes, and also we can teach you how to participate. So that's what this Deal Accelerator program is about. We offer one-on-one deal making mentorship, trainings, and obviously we'll give you the leads as well. Part of the deal making process is being able to work the leads and go all the way from lead all the way to a signed contract, and being able to monetize on the contract. So we want to give you a full solution, walk you through the whole way on the entire process. Only 2 spots are available. And we have, these are track records, 12 doors already acquired and cash flow. The Real Estate IQ also has a deal on the 2026 special. We have the New Year 2026, and these are for serious deal makers, right? These are verified distressed sellers that we were just talking about. How we're actively working on these leads is by doing active outreach marketing to these leads and turning them into deals. So, we want to give you the leads and kind of walk you through how you can work the deals and either acquire the deals to grow your portfolio, or turn them into a wholesale type of opportunity for you. And then we have this consultation QR code, right, to chat more or see a demo of these motivated seller, distressed seller leads. This is how you can participate. One of our account managers will reach out to you. By the way, the market updates I was just sharing is actually part of our newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter that talks about the different metrics and numbers, right? And we're only sharing, we only share kind of the top 3 items. The newsletter is an 8-pager newsletter that has much more details and talks about more area that every real estate investor should be aware of. So if you're interested in receiving a copy of that newsletter, you can also request that, right? Schedule a time with our consultant and then ask for it. Okay, and what deal did you find last week? We know that last week was kind of the year end, the beginning of the year, and we were seeing a little bit decrease of activity of kind of responses from sellers towards the end of the year, and just kind of want to see what everybody is seeing. But ever since I think like January 2nd, January 3rd, all that starts to move again. So we're seeing a lot of activity now. Kind of all that pent up activity, is starting to happen. So if you got any leads or deals that you're working on, we want to encourage you to share that. And again, if you need somebody to, I think number one is to help make sure this is a good deal, right? No one is making sure that this is a good deal for you, and doing the right due diligence and making sure that it's a deal. I think, we have come across folks that bring us a signed contract and go, hey, I got this deal, but I can't move the deal. I cannot find a buyer. Well, it's because you acquired it at the price that is not really a good deal. It's not a strong deal. That's why you can't dispo it. And so just kind of having that kind of third person, someone that who is experienced and be able to kind of watch for and make sure that it's a good deal. I think that's invaluable. That's very valuable. I certainly don't want to go through these big transactions by myself. The first deal I found, I called Tamla. Before we go to Q&A, I think Tamla, you have a topic that you're very passionate about, so we can jump into that. And of course, anybody that has questions, this is also the time for you to share as well.
What I was talking to Steve about earlier is January is my month to reflect on the past year, what I did, what I didn't do, what I can change, what do I think I can do better. Did certain things work for me? Was I not comfortable doing certain things? It's my reflection, and it also helps me get motivated for the current year and what I'm going to do. So I always take the time in January to really look at what I did the year before, how I did it. Did it work? Why do I think it worked? If it didn't work as good as I thought it would, why why did it not work? Could I change something? It's just a reflection on the past year. I call it my motivation thoughts, my motivation processes. How can I do things better? What would I change? How can I change it? Just reflecting upon changes, good things, bad things, thoughts. And I spend a lot of time doing that. Um, because I do enjoy what I do, and I don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation with what I'm doing. So if it's an uncomfortable situation, then why? If it's a situation that worked well, why? Yeah, I just look back on everything and think about it. And I think that I think everyone should do that. Some people do, they're very happy with everything, and that's good. That's just what I do. I do call it my motivation month. Then there are times that I think about it other times of the year, but January is usually the starting off of, okay, what am I going to change this year? What am I going to do differently? What do I think is going to happen this year? What Where do I think the market's going to go? Um, that's what I do.
Yeah, if I could add on to that is once you come up with once you write down, I highly recommend writing down the reflection because you can think about it, but then if I don't write down and capture it, I tend to forget, and then or it just kind of lingers in my mind. I find that when I write down, it really reduces my stress level. I don't have to keep remembering what these ideas are. I just write down and then a pattern usually will emerge. And you can start kind of looking at it and go, okay, these are the new habits. These are a couple of new habits that I want to start that's going to help solve some of these problems. And we always recommend creating habits. You know, if you really want something to kind of stay and being consistent on something, and we really value consistency because I think consistency is where you can really get consistent business results. So set up a habit and find the time to actually make it a habit,
Mhm.
and I think that will really make the change a stick. It's a really key point for improving yourself and kind of creating positive changes that really kind of stick around. Because we
Yes.
can be very passionate, right? Like, oh, that's such a great idea. I'm just gonna start doing it, and then it's very likely that we lose steam throughout the year, and then that's why a lot of the New Year resolution uh, doesn't pan out, or like it doesn't kind of stay for the whole year. It doesn't because people have trouble turning that into a habit.
Yes. And remember, when you're in this business, when I got into this business, I was told that I would probably make 50 to 100 offers before one was ever accepted. It was a numbers game. I still believe that. It is a numbers game. Fortunately for me, I had a very good first experience. I made an offer and it was accepted. So that really motivated me. Um, but you have to remember, it's you have to continue to make offers even though you're receiving no's. You'll receive a lot of no's before you receive a yes. In most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, but don't give up. Keep going, because this is a numbers game.
Yeah, and talking about the outreach, right? If you're just starting out, I think making the outreach and setting a time aside and really consistently doing it, I think that's very important. It applies to making cold calls, or let's say you want to go door knocking, making the time for it, and to just start. You don't need to set like a big goal, like, oh, I need to dedicate like 3 hours every day, 2 hours every day, just to make calls. Like, you can just start with 30 minutes, right? Sometimes if we don't want to do it, if our brain is resisting doing something, just make it short and easy. Just start checking the marks. Maybe you're not gonna get much results in the beginning, but just kind of getting that check, it already makes you feel good. I did today, I did the next day, the next day, the next day. And then when it starts really becoming a habit, or you're having fun doing the outreach, then you can start building on top of it. You can add more time or whatnot.
Also, I wanted to remind everyone, 1099s are due at the end of the month. You have to have them mailed out by the end of the month. So if you have any 1099s that need to be out, get in touch with your accountant, your CPA, or do them yourself, but make sure they are out by the end of the month, or you could be penalized by the IRS. And while you're calculating up and sending out your 1099s, you might as well go ahead and get your franchise tax information ready and get ready to file the reports. All of the reports that you have to file yearly. Now's the time to go ahead and get that information and get them done.
Awesome. Okay, let's see, what questions do we have or comments? Rashad says she can't get back to her account. I sent you the response. You can email our customer success team, Rashad, and that will generate a ticket, and then we can help you work on this, notating everything. I don't quite understand your full sentence, but if you need to get back to your account on the user portal, that's how you can do it. And then Mitchell says there was a deal. I think this was a Florida commercial building deal that Andrew was looking for funding. If remind me if I remember incorrectly. Feel free to correct me. Yeah, Mitchell, go ahead. Feel free to reach out to Randy. You can text him and start a conversation.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think that's all we got for this week. Next week we'll have deals updates. We got all these deals we're working on that Tamla has been pushing. So I'm sure we'll have more updates for you. And welcome back for the year, everybody. And look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye, everyone.
So before we end, a couple of additional events and classes. So we have pre-foreclosure gold mine. That's tonight at 6. And tomorrow, 9:30, we have our office hours. So you got any personal questions, or you want to kind of have a more in-person networking setting, that's the place to be. And then we have Friday open house, really talking about what Real Estate IQ is about and what we want to build, how you can join us. And Saturday, we have how to find distressed houses. So let me end this again with make sure you take good, strong actions, and you can start your real estate journey with us. And with that said, thank you, everybody, and have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Tamla.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.